You're listening to RevOps Champions, a podcast created for B2B leaders to help you align your people, streamline your processes, trust your data, and leverage technology in order to grow your business. Another topic that unsurprisingly came up on almost every episode of RevOps Champions last year was data. Whether you're talking about RevOps or CRM technology or the alignment of your customer-facing processes, every conversation will eventually lead to data. These elements are all interconnected. You wouldn't need technology if you weren't trying to make better use of your data, and you wouldn't be growing a business if you didn't understand the importance of data. That said, whether you're trying to solve for operational efficiency improvements or customer experience, or you're measuring your growth milestones, data or KPIs or metrics or whatever you call them in your organization is always part of the conversation. With the continuously rising case for how AI will improve everything you're doing, it won't be possible without accurate and easily accessible data. Here are a handful of our guests from the past year talking about different ways that data shows up in their RevOps and go-to-market initiatives.
So like, for example, you generate a lot of late leads, but the sales team for some reason doesn't log the same amount of calls. And that conversion between leads and calls, that conversion rate, it's not something anyone's ever going to log into a dashboard and check randomly. You might if you have a really good big sales op team. But if a computer can very quickly see, oh, okay, well, that conversion rate dropped significantly this week, so we should alert somebody to say, hey, it looks like you got a lot of leads that haven't been contacted. By using these models, we can start to deliver insights to business professionals and then back that up with, of course, with the data. But the insight is the part that they have trouble gathering from the data on their own. Yes. And so for our partners, what we're focused on is helping them go into their clients at a much more strategic level. So instead of saying, hey, we can run your paid ads and your SEO and implement your sales systems, your CRM, et cetera, is, hey, what are your business growth objectives, revenue and margins, right? And then what are the things you're doing? What systems are you using to measure that now? What data can we pull from that? And how can we start understanding, is your performance on par with others? What is your likely future performance? What things can we do now, next week, next quarter, to improve your ultimate outcomes? And how's that going right now? So are we on track or not? With those conversations, right, you can go into a board or a C-level and say, like, this is how we manage, how we help you manage the performance of your business so that you don't miss opportunities for improvement and that you're getting the most out of the investments that you're making.
The critical thing is you have to have good, clean, organized data. Otherwise, the AI is just going to make it worse. The same way as technology 20, 30 years ago would have just made what the garbage you were putting in, even worse.
Well, we know people don't like hearing that. They do love fast and easy.
But like
those things are possible when you start with those foundations.
Which is why I think we have to start, you and I, by being vulnerable like we were earlier, saying we've both made the same mistake many, many times, and I'll probably make it again a few more times.
Yeah, why can't we just figure out this perfection thing? Dang it.
Which is why I make sure I surround myself with people who stop me from making shiny object decisions,
All the data in the world can help your job. It can help you do amazing things. But there is too much data. Like there's a point where you have way too much and it makes you spend too much time doing things that you don't necessarily need to be doing. That's one of the beautiful things about AI, and it's a disaster about AI. And because it can completely overrun what you're trying to do to the point of where it's no longer functional. So perfect example, a few nights ago, I love like data analysis. It's such a nerdy thing. I pulled all of my customer list of the last 14 years from my company because they're all in my portal, my CRM. I exported them and I anonymized it. So I don't have any names. I don't have any, personal information. And then I imported that into ChatGPT. And I started running really crazy analyses. And the first 20 minutes, I was geeking out. It was so cool. I saved all kinds of stuff into a drive. I'm like, I cannot wait to show our team, when we start to analyze as our quarterly meeting was coming up, who we want to work with, what are the top 20 clients that we want to really focus on and just replicate those. And lo and behold, like as time went on, it's like 1 a.m. and I'm still doing this, and I'm enjoying myself doing it. But probably the first 20 to 30 minutes of me doing that was all I needed to do. Granted, I was just goofing off and having a good time.
How do we want to use the content side, the marketing platform within it? But we would not have been ready for that to start. And now, because we are sophisticated enough, we've spent 2 years getting the foundational elements of the sales side right, having some optimization within it, bringing in users who are now familiar, so the capability is building internally, the skill set's building internally. We're now ready to take on that second phase of implementation and evolution within the platform. And I think, we've learned a lot along the way.
Yeah. And that's actually, that's I mean, this is so good because we see that all the time as well. When we first, start chatting to a business about what they think or their needs are from a system perspective, because or if they need help, like what are the processes? Where are the gaps in your processes? Are you clear about your core reports? In other words, your core data. And through that process, before we even go anywhere near the technology, the implementation of the technology, we're trying to assess like where is the technology going to have the most impact in the short term, and we start there. So sometimes, in your example, you start with optimizing and enabling sales.
But you got to slow down to go fast here, right? So slowing down means like it's not about hustling and getting more done faster. It's like, how do we slow down and make sure our data is clean? Or how do we slow down and look at the data and draw some insights from it and kind of do like that 80-20 analysis, right? So that's also a common issue. I think that organizations are just, going faster, doing more faster, right? Over and over. You have to kind of slow down and pace yourself, I think, to kind of get that perspective and use data effectively to really make decisions. So we try to like implement periods of slowing down and reflection in our process of working with clients. It's like, hey, we're going to pump the brakes. Let's look at everything. And I'm sure you're familiar with the 80-20 principle. Right? How do we look at the data to understand what 20% of what we're doing is driving 80% of the value? And, you do that over and over and over again, but it's tricky. Everyone there's a lot of pressure to keep moving.